Welcome back to another episode of Two Knicks Chicks. I'm your girl, Lady and the Chef, and I'm joined by my co-host this evening.
D Block's 21. What's good?
The Knicks losing to sloppy performances against both Los Angeles teams were just not in my bingo cards. I'll say that much to say the least. Um, yeah, I don't know. I do know actually. I don't have all the answers, but we'll start off with the Lakers game. The Knicks lost 97 to 110. Um, that game to me, the Knicks, actually both games, the Knicks were in those games, right? The Knicks should have won both of those games. They were in it, but couldn't seem to find their way to get over that hump to gain the lead, pull away and maintain the lead. It seems like in both games, every time the Knicks got close, both LA teams were able to just knock down shots. And I think that brings me to the whole purpose of me talking about the Knicks have a defensive problems, right? On this team, which I strongly believe that they do. Um, the defense started strong against the Lakers. They held this high offensive team without a bucket for, I think it was like over 7 minutes in the first half, minus the free throws that they made. But the Knicks just couldn't find their way to crawl back. Josh Hart had 8 points, played 22 minutes. OG Anunoby played 38 minutes, had 13 points, 8 rebounds. Carl Anthony Towns played 34 minutes, had 25 points. He was 8 for 8 from the free throw line, had 16 rebounds as well. Jalen Brunson, 42 minutes, had 24 points. He was 3 for 8 from the 3 point line, 5 for 7 from the free throw line, had 6 rebounds, 7 assists. Mikal Bridges, I mean, you literally called him a donut, a big fat donut. 27 minutes, 0 points, 0 for 6 from the field goal percentage wise. He was 0 for 4 from the 3 point line. He had 6 rebounds and 5 assists. Mo Diawara had played 15 minutes, had 4 points. He was 2 for 2 from the free throw line. Jordan Clarkson played 10 minutes, had 9 points. He was 3 for 4, 1 for 2 from the three pointers, and 2 for 2 from the free throw line. Landry Shamet, 27 minutes, had 10 points. Jose Alvarado, 7 minutes, didn't really give you much. And Mitchell Robinson played 17 minutes, had 4 points and 4 rebounds. It just wasn't, I don't know. I thought, and not I didn't not necessarily because LeBron didn't play. I just didn't think that was after a while. It just didn't look like the Knicks were going to be able to take it. And when you look at with the Lakers, Hachimura killed the Knicks from the 3 point line.
hmm
Even though he was 3 for 8, but for some reason it seemed like every time he got the ball, the Knicks couldn't stop him. Luka Doncic had 35, Austin Reeves had 25, and then Kennard, he was 3 for 7 from the 3 point line and had 12 points. So, and then even when you look at each quarter, points wise, the Knicks pretty much they got outscored except for 2 quarters. So the second quarter and the fourth quarter, the Knicks outscored the Lakers. But still, when I watched that game, the Knicks had every opportunity to come back and win that game. The shots were there. They were off, but the defense was horrible. Um, what was your breakdown of that game?
and see me, I took it the opposite way. You said defensively. I mean, for me, it started on the defensive end because they can't like this. They can't even guard a parking spot, let alone guard a man. I mean, let's keep it a buck. Like they lost a possession battle. Like let's talk about that. Like the lack of pace and the feel to get out in transition. So when you look at those things, with the Knicks, and just to go back to the Denver game, I mean they slaughtered Denver. So I again, you think when they have good games like that, that'd be the catalyst, and hopefully it can carry over or propel them to like the next game. They should have definitely lost. They should have definitely won at least one of those, and they both were winnable games. That's the crazy part. So it's like offensively, they just shooting like bricks. At what point do you dial down those threes? Like what? Where's Brown's thinking? Like what is this guy? You know, he talking about spray what? You, no, I mean I'm livid, man. Don't laugh at me, man. Like, like, and offensively they failed to score like over 100 points. So that's what I'm saying. Defensively, maybe they started out okay, and I didn't see that. I really didn't. Um, but they failed to score up 100 points, so the Lakers had the clamps on them. And when when you think about it, Luca didn't have his best game.
Mm-mm.
Like field goal percentage wise, he was horrible. From the three, he was horrible. Like it's like what is this team gonna need to do to you got 16 games left. So they were lost offensively and defensively on both ends. There was a collapse, and like Eddie said, there's no communication. So that's just one of my spills, you know. But I got more. I need to dive into it. I could go on though. I mean, you know, I could go on with this team. You know, you let me know.
No, go
So,
ahead.
nah, but no, but like just when you look at things like how they were just abysmal, like from the 3 point line, like and they were in it, but they just still was offensively and defense. There was just collapse all across the board, and like where was Mikel? Did he play that game? Like
Yeah,
forget about what you paid him because that's water. You're not gonna get that back, and you got to think about this guy's locked in for 4 years at 150. You kidding me? Like, dude, you can't give us these donuts. That's you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, I need to get in the lab and I got to contribute. And I'm not saying he's not saying that, but it's like you got to put that into action. Like
right,
he's so comfortable with how his style of play is costing us because you're leaving points on the board
right,
and your lack of effort because that's what it is. It's a lack of effort. You are costing and I'm not putting all the blame on him, but when you're giving zero, that's costing the team the game.
right.
You know, and I get a collective, it's a team effort because there's no I in team, and this is when you win as a team, you lose as a team. But damn it, dude, you gotta give us better than that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah,
I
but I got more, but I'm disgusted right about now.
I'm telling you, the Knicks will make you have crash out sessions. It's crazy how this team, and you mentioned Denver, but I said this already. The Knicks already have Denver's number. They figured out how to beat them. But there's other teams in this league that they have struggled to beat. Cleveland, to name one. You know that last loss, that last particular game against Cleveland. Um, you know, OKC, who you that was a fairly good game, but still, just as we say, a win is a win, a loss is a loss in that case. But I just feel like the Knicks. You mentioned effort. Going back to what we mentioned in the last show, Mike Brown seems to want this to be a collective effort, and it seems like that's what the Knicks are. The trajectory is moving towards. I don't know, but Mikal Bridges specifically, I just felt like Mikal Bridges, he plays too safe and he looks too comfortable. You can't go games where you have no points.
Yeah,
It's just you can't do that. You know what I mean? And in some games where he does give us points, like I said, some games Mikal could only give you 8, 9 points. And it's even if I look at the stats and I go, oh, well, he did the other little things, there's not a lot of games I can say that about him. But I just thought collectively the effort wasn't there. The Knicks played very lackluster. They were a few steps too slow on the defensive end. I thought offensively the Knicks had the looks. They just weren't knocking them down. But going back to what you said, when I look at both of these uh California games, these LA games, I didn't see any adjustments made by Mike Brown. The Knicks looked like they played the same identical game they played against the Lakers, they played against the Clippers. There was no change. So
Yeah.
when I watched the games, I was like, well, damn, what changes did Mike Brown make? There was no changes. Now, were there moments in those games where we saw the Knicks get relentless and make a fight to come back in the games? Yeah, because at one point, even in the Clippers game, the Knicks got within what, 5 or 4 points?
Yeah. Yep.
But the problem with that is that, and it's so funny because I have some stats to read off about the Knicks guarding the perimeter. The stats say one thing, but at this rate, I'm like, forget that. I get
Yeah.
that the stats say one thing, but when you're playing in a game or when you get to the postseason, and I'm not saying the postseason is going to be the same thing, the Knicks can turn it around and turn the level up, but it's just like, where is the level of competitiveness? Where is the heart that you come out with that you then also these slow starts that the Knicks are having as well. They've been having slow starts in the first quarter. They haven't been able to like make their presence known as soon as the jump ball happens. And it's been rare to see that in games this season as well.
Yeah.
But for me, the reason why I titled the thumbnail that the Knicks have a defensive problem specifically, and it's not just these two games, this has been all season, and this has been under the Tibbs tenure as well. And the Knicks haven't broken these bad habits. When you watch the Knicks play, I was literally like hands on my head because I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me. I'm watching the offense. Carl Anthony Towns is coming up to double team. They were double teaming Kawhi. Kawhi, first of all, has humongous hands. He didn't panic. He was able to get the ball to whoever was open. The Clippers did an excellent job, still able to get the ball to whoever was open because every time Ty Lue was like, okay, somebody's open because they double teaming. The Knicks never adjusted out of the double team in both matchups. And for the love of Christ, I can't understand why are they double teaming. And then what was happening was Carl Anthony Towns was coming up to double team. It left Mo Diawara at the basket. Josh Hart is standing in the paint as well, helping out Mo. And every time teams are just spraying it to the corner, either the shortest end 3 pointer on the left or right side of the court, the teams are spraying the ball out. And every time defensively, I can't understand why are the Knicks double teaming? You don't need to double team. Guard every man needs to guard whoever they're guarding. Man to man defense. That's it. So that was the issue, but also it was the offense, like you said. Both the Lakers and the Clippers turned up the clamps on the Knicks defensively. They were playing zones. They were able to close out the paint. The Knicks couldn't really do anything, and this is where I get a little concerned with the Knicks because I was watching them on offense, and you had Brunson, who Brunson seems to have taken a little, like he's been a little off the past few games, but he seems to have taken a little bit of a back seat because in the Clippers game last night, Brunson drove into the paint and then threw the ball out. I said, what? I said, Brunson should have just taken that shot. He drove into the paint, turned around and kicked it. I think it was like Shamit was standing there. And I was like, because Brunson's not scared of contact or a bigger defender. So I couldn't
Mhm.
understand it. I don't know if Brunson's trying to be more of a facilitator. I'm not sure what's going on. But what I noticed in both of the LA games is that the offense was so stagnant. No one was driving,
Yeah.
no one
Yep.
was cutting. And then I wanted to bang my head against the wall because they kept shooting jump shots. Why? When does Mike Brown take his stupid hands out of his pockets? He always standing with his hands in his pockets. Call a timeout and say, all right, fellas, I need y'all to drive. Let's stop the clock. That's how we're gonna chip back into this game. The Knicks allowed the defense to dictate how they were gonna play on both ends of the floor, and that was for both LA teams.
Yep.
But that's not sustainable for this team to play this style of like it was stagnant, no one was cutting. It was kind of watching Brunson or watching whoever got the ball and no one was moving without the ball. It was just very flat,
Yeah,
very flat.
that's what I said. They played they came out like flat and like slow, like and you know the Lakers game. Somebody said, "Oh, did they must was partying?" Hell, maybe they wasn't. Maybe it was an early game. Who knows? But you gotta like adjust and for Cat had 20 or 25, and you know Brunson had 24, but you know after that, you know OG what 13, 15, 13 points, but it was like you got to give much more of a defensive effort, and then like the offense, like I don't know. It's that's what I'm saying. It's like you with Brown. I can't wrap my mind around his coaching like style. Yeah, he won the coach of the year. That was how many years ago? You won the ring year as an assistant. What are you gonna do for this team? What adjustments can you make? Like,
And it's like you don't know what he wants
yeah,
because like it's not reflective on the floor a lot of times. So you can't really pinpoint, well, maybe that's what he's trying to go after. That's what he's looking for. It's hard to tell when you watch games like the last two. And I'm not saying that it's the end of it for the Knicks after these last two losses for the Knicks, but I really think that both of those two games the Knicks gave away and the Knicks should have
oh
won.
yeah, sure,
And between the offense and the Knicks not making shots, again, I've seen this time and time again with this Knicks team this season, where the Knicks want to keep continuing. Like you said, Mike Brown wants them to keep spraying shots. And that was almost the same philosophy under Thibodeau, where he wanted the Knicks to shoot a high percentage of threes. But if you're not making not just the threes, but if you're not making your jump shots, I'm not saying to completely stop shooting. But at some point in a game, take a quarter, take a half of a quarter and say, let's be more aggressive and take the ball inside. Because I'll watch other teams and I'm like, well, damn, they're driving and the Knicks are
yeah,
not. And then there was a lot of in both games where the Knicks was bringing the ball down. I heard Grant Hill said the Knicks got to stop doing this. He said they're doing one and done.
yeah.
Brunson bring it down. He said one pass and a person shooting. And he said, you're not going to get back into this game like that. He said they need to get back to Knicks basketball and move that ball around. I'm like, exactly. So this
Yeah,
is what I'm saying. If you're Brown, when do you say, yo, let's regroup, fellas? You're rushing, you're allowing them to dictate the offense. And it's just, I didn't see any change from the Los Angeles game to the Clippers game. I didn't see any change. They were playing the same exact way.
and that's why Brunson got to get off that ball some more. Like they do, we know what you can do, and we seen the previous games how you had the 15 assists, and the last few games because that you're sharing the ball and you trusting your teammates, but you got to keep that confidence going. Like you can't dribble the air out the ball, and that's what they were doing with the Lakers. Like they he ain't no they. It was primarily him, where he was just like dribbling so much where you didn't get those second and third chance opportunities because if you're taking like like which Eddie said 18 seconds off the clock, then guess about it when you shoot it you're one and done. So like that's something like that's where's the adjustment Brown needs to make. Like you can't dribble the ball down for 18 seconds and then now you want to either pass it out or shoot it, and then what the rebounds, yeah, they did win the rebound edge, but it wasn't by much. And you're still limiting your team
Right.
into those second and third chance opportunities. And so that's something like Brown needs to make the adjustment with.
Yeah. And dribbling the ball for that long is forcing the team to have to make these rushed last second shots that quite a few times there was a shot clock violation because they couldn't even get the ball off. When you watch those games, do you feel like even though it seems like Mike Brown wanted to be a collective team effort, do you feel like maybe Brunson should have been more aggressive? And do you think that maybe they should have tried to hit Cat a little bit more in the game? Or do you look at it like, no, collectively, even though we both know the team completely was stinking up the joint, maybe collectively other guys should have stepped up as well, OG Bridges? Or do you think that, you know, Brunson should have been a little bit more aggressive, even though he was still able to manage to score and maybe find ways to get Cat involved?
Oh yeah, definitely collectively, definitely get Cat more involved. He had like 16 boards, so it's like he had to like get his where he could get it. Um, and and again, Bridges, like dude, that's possibly 12, 15 points right there. And again, he had what six plays in DNPs. I like how Sohan didn't play. But not that Pop Dadier and Huck Porty plays much, but like you had DNPs for 6 plays that could have possibly given you a spark or something off that bench.
Right.
So like, and that's what I'm saying. You don't know Brown's angle. Where's he going with this team? Like, it's supposed to be next man up mentality, but if you're sitting on the bench being a cheerleader, it's impossible.
Yeah.
So collectively, yeah, I think and like I always say, it's not no one sport. It's not McHale's, it's not Brunson, but as a team, you gotta like have another damn meeting. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Serious.
no, and I agree with you. It's not, it doesn't fall in one play. I've heard a lot of like talks lately, people saying, and we got this question asked in the last show about whether or not Josh Hart should maybe not start and come off the bench. And I don't think it has anything to do with that either. I think a lot of it was the Knicks had the looks, they just were off. I mean, but damn, you off both games back to back, you off, which is kind of crazy. But the Knicks were off and not knocking down shots. But also, both LA teams figured out how to defend the Knicks and also slow down Brunson. Knicks also lost to the Clippers 118 to 126. The Knicks got outscored pretty much um, every quarter except for, I believe, the third quarter. But that was another game where I'm looking at who did what. Josh Hart played 36 minutes, had 12 points, 13 rebounds. OG Anunoby played 37 minutes, had 22 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Carl Anthony Towns played 36 minutes, had 35 points. He had 12 rebounds, 7 assists. He was 6 for 8 from the free throw line and was 3 for 4 from the 3-point line. Jalen Brunson played 38 minutes, had 28 points. He was 2 for 3 from the free throw line. He was 2 for 7 from the 3-point line. He had 4 boards, 8 assists. Mikal Bridges played 26 minutes. The Lakers game, he played 27 minutes. Clippers game, he played 26 minutes. He did have 7 measly points. He had 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. Mo Diawara played 18 minutes, had 5 points. It felt like Diawara had more points than that. Um, and then Ariel Puckporty played 12 minutes. Jose Alvarado got a little playing time, 8 minutes. Jordan Clarkson only 3. Landry Shamet played 23 minutes, had 9 points. Landry was off from the 3-point line as well. Excuse me. And Tyler Kolek got in for 2 minutes. But what's even more interesting with this Clippers games is the stats. The Knicks won in a field goal percentage battle, 51 to the Clippers 46. They out rebounded them 51 to 36. They out won them on the assist battle as well, 32 to 25. Knicks had 19 turnovers in that game. You're not going to win a game with that many turnovers.
I thought it was 20. It was 19 or 20.
The stat I have
Yeah,
here is
it's
19, but I
19.
thought it was 20 as well. Yeah, I think this is wrong. I believe it was 20. And then the points in the paint, the Knicks won in that regard, 58 to 46. So, but then when you look at the largest lead, the Clippers had 15, the Knicks won. And when I look at specifically last night's game against the Clippers, the Knicks would make a run, but what was killing them was that stupid double teaming. That is not in the Knicks card. And Mike Brown has to stop that double teaming because the Knicks have been doing that a lot this season and it's killing them. Why
Yeah.
do you need Carl Anthony Towns? Because even I saw at some points Mitchell Robinson is coming up to double team. The Knicks are not fast enough to recover.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
need to stop the double teaming. If they were quick enough to get back to their spots, fine, but they're not. And then when you look at them, they look all disheveled defensively because they don't even know where their man is at or who's getting the ball next because the ball is moving so quick around the perimeter. The Knicks can't even gather their bearings on, trying to keep up with the ball or whatever. So the problem I believe this team has is they're double teaming and they don't need to double team. I'm not sure why the Knicks are continuing it. The double teaming has to stop.
Yeah. They don't recover quick.
No, that is not in their ministry to do that and to continue to double team. And what's happening, what I noticed too with this team as well is, and I've said this so many times, when the Knicks play defense, it's like they're trained and coached to guard the paint. It's like don't nobody move from the paint. Everybody pack in the paint, and it's like they're playing like two guys by the free throw line, two guys right where you would make a layup at, and then whoever's playing point guard, guarding the other team's point, is kind of moving around with whoever has the ball. That's
Mm-hmm.
hurting them because I even saw a few possessions where, and then Carl Anthony Towns defense is like crazy because I watched several times where he don't even put a hand up. He'll like chin check them, but I'm like that doesn't work. They're gonna make the shot. So I'm not understanding why Mike Brown is still allowing this double team to happen. You don't need to double team. I really wish the Knicks would stop doing that because they can't recover back and be able to guard who they're guarding. It's hurting them. It really is. It's hurting them badly. So I don't know. This team, they just they couldn't. That was really what hurt them. It was the defense. Yeah, the Knicks didn't make shots, but they made several runs to get back into this game. But when you have um what's his name, Brooke Lopez shooting at the top of the key because Carl Anthony Towns is not there to challenge him, and he's 3 for 5 from the 3 point line, has 16 points. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Darius Garland 5 for 9 from the 3 point line, had 23 points. And Matherin 28 points. He was 2 for 5 from the 3 point line, 8 for 9 field goal wise. Excuse me, free throw wise. He was 9 for 20 field goal wise. What are you expecting that's going to happen?
Exactly. He also.
Derek Jones Jr., 16 points, 4 for 7 from the 3 point line. He was 6 for 14 field goals for his field goals. So the Knicks the defense just wasn't good. It wasn't good. It was awful. And I'm noticing this trend with them in games where they're playing this double team defense. And I'm like, why is Brown allowing this to continue to happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're an assistant coach and your job is to watch film, don't you need to go, hey, coach, I'm noticing that when we do that, it's costing us because teams are spraying it. Whoever's the open man, and our guys can't get out there quick enough. And then the Knicks almost look like when you play NBA 2K and the players running out and like they swat it and they're trying to like that's what they look crazy. I'm like, that's not a sustainable defense to play that way. If the Knicks go into the postseason doing that, good luck. Good
Yeah.
luck. On top of a defensive issue, the Knicks were they're inconsistent.
Yeah.
They're very inconsistent. They not only as a team, but player wise, you have inconsistencies. You have some guys that could be pretty steady, and then you have some guys who, Bridges, sometimes it's OG, sometimes you don't know who it's gonna be. But the thing that I find that's interesting is I was looking this up with the Knicks because I was just curious. Yeah, it was 20 turnovers in last night's game that pretty much shot the Knicks in the foot, and then the poor perimeter defense as well. A total of 39 combined turnovers and a sub 30% from the three. The Knicks weren't going to win either one of those games. Um, I was reading that this stat line, the Knicks gave up a lot of threes at the start of the year. And up until MLK Day, they were frequently, you know, bombed from the outside against teams. And the stats show before New Year's Eve, their opponent three-point percentage was at 36.9%. They were tied at 21st. And then their opponent three-point attempts was at 39.7. They were at 25th. From December 31st to January 19th, their opponent three-point percentage was at 39.5. So it went up, and they went from 21st to 28th. They were tied. Their opponent three-point attempts went down to 37.3%. They were tied at 15. Since January 20th, the Knicks opponent three-point percentage is first at 31.7. And their opponent three-point attempts, they're 19th at 37.4%. So, a lot of that has to do with not guarding the perimeter, as we talked about. And I'm sure maybe with the back-to-back games, there was fatigue as well. But I don't know. At least out of the two games, I was expecting the Knicks to at least give me one, and both games looked like a repeat of the previous game. The Knicks are 2-1 against the Celtics. They're also 2-1 against Cleveland, and they're 5-0 against basically two of the biggest threats in the West. Which again is still good on paper. It looks good, but then when you watch these games, sometimes it's like that this team. You've seen what this team could do. This team could be a dangerous team, but then when you watch what they do in games, it's like, what is going on? And sure, I think that you know not having Deuce McBride does make somewhat of a difference. Not having Mitchell Robinson available and his minutes reduced changes up the lineup for the Knicks as well. And we kind of talked about that too, especially going into the postseason. But I do think that Mitchell Robinson every other game does hurt the Knicks as well.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
when you have to play Huck Porty, now you're playing smaller. The experience and the aggressiveness level is not there like it would be with Mitchell Robinson. And I think that that's something that the Knicks are going to have to address. Because I'm sorry, but that's not sustainable as well. Like Huck Porty's okay. He's a force in like G League time, but when he plays on the Knicks, he looks good when he gets his alley oops and he's able to get his dunks. Yeah. But I don't know. Um Brunson Town's lineup has a 103.8 defensive rating since January 20th as well. Cat has been playing a lot better. Quite honestly, Jalen Brunson looked like he needs some rest. His legs don't look like they're underneath him. He looks tired. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't.
he's played 80 minutes within the last two games, 42 for the Lakers and 38 for the Clippers. Like it's his minutes. I mean, they seem like they're creeping up. At one point, he was playing like 34 minutes, 35, 30. That weighs in on you. If his minutes continue to increase. You
Right.
know,
No,
so
it's true. And you know what? The Knicks schedule has, and this is not me using excuses, but it has been um given the stretch of opponents. In a span of 6 days, the Knicks have played Shea, Nikola, Luca, and Kawhi. So the schedule has been kind of crazy. I don't know who's doing the scheduling. I don't know if they're trying to save on airfare or maybe that they try to avoid having players and teams flying a lot to avoid them being on in the air and on flights. But
Well,
I don't know. I don't know what it is and what's going on, but the Knicks seriously have a defensive problem that's going
well,
on with this team.
Well, Shay, they played at the Garden, which was their only game that they're going to be playing, and that's they don't even get me started with that game because you know how I feel like just because
Yeah.
he had 3 fouls, oh, so this is his only trip to the Garden. Do you really think that they're going to let him sit? Well, yeah, if it's a foul, yeah, I don't care if this is his last game ever in life at the Garden. You got to call it fairly. So, but that's neither here nor there. But just to tap in with that Clippers game. I mean, the Knicks they just made so many again another game where they came out flat. No, seemed like no energy. And I'm gonna take a
Mhm.
page out of Clyde's book, lethargic. But they too many turnovers. First of all, 20 turnovers, and the Clippers capitalized it. They had 24 points off of the Knicks turnover. That's a lot of points that you left on the board, like on the floor, and they had 18 for the LA game. So again, they're telegraphing their plays, and the defense is reading them, and this is why they have these turnovers and they can't recover because now the team is running out in transition. Boom, that's that's baskets right there. So again, where's the adjustment with Brown? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? That's why I got to keep coming back to that because dude, you had 18 in the LA game, and then he says, "Oh, he did a press conference. Oh, that we got to take care of the ball better."
I
But
saw
you
that.
come, yeah, but you come back out.
They
You
do the
have
same
20
thing.
turnovers. Oh, okay, that's the way to take care of the ball. Great. So, I mean, but I I turned that Clippers game off to be honest, because it was late anyway. And I had to get up for work, and
Right.
it was like 3 minutes. And it was less than that. I said, man, if they come back, I would love to wake up and find out that they were able to make some miraculous comeback off of that. But they didn't. But and they can't defend the opponent's three, and let alone and they can't even make them. So now you're at a deficit. So these are so many, and they come back. The next few games is like a kind of an easy schedule, so we'll see what they do. Not enough contribution, like from your starters, the bench. Your bench scored 14 points. How? And Matthew scored 28 alone.
Right.
So you got to get contribution from your bench. There's no that's not sustainable. Like during that Denver game, I get it. They had such a wide margin where the bench was able to play. But again, it's that's not the bench's for kind of. But if you've got a bunch of DMPs, you know, the players can insert themselves in. You
Yeah.
know, and they got killed at the free throw line. Like so there was so many things where they just had it was down in a deficit when it came to both those games. No, I mean maybe it's the West Coast could be tired. You don't want to make excuses because again, you getting paid millions of dollars. There's no excuses allowed. Like you got to
Exactly.
suck it up and play. So I'm not giving them excuses, but these are just things that I observed. Um, they got killed with the threes. The Knicks 14 for 40, and the Clippers 18 for 39. And like when you read those stats, they the Knicks they beat them, but the Clippers made more free throws than them, and then their threes. So if they could, and I know they're gonna look at film, but it's just so, these are the things that they should have done and they could have done, but they failed to execute. So again, there was no intensity, no sense of urgency. I just hope they have a better route. When they come back home and who they play tomorrow. Then they got the Pacers after that. And we know they can't seem to get over that hump with the Pacers. But this was just a terrible loss, man. on both for the both teams, man, and winnable games at that.
Yeah. Yeah, because the Knicks made runs in both LA games, and part of the reason why they couldn't get over the hump is I'm gonna keep saying it till I'm blue in the face. The Knicks deep double teaming is not their strong suite. And sometimes Knicks fans, we get angry at the coach, and part of the blame does go on Brown or whoever would be the head coach of the Knicks. But I think that the Knicks needs a coach who's going to come in here and change the regime of moving out a lot of the bad habits that this team has that I haven't seen filtered out yet. There's a lot of bad habits that the Knicks had even before Tibbs became the coach, and they're still doing it.
Yeah,
Like, let's get rid of the dark cloud over the team, as the Knicks have done a good job the last few seasons of getting better and getting further. And again, when you look at on paper, yes. When you watch them most nights, yes, you see a team that you're like, wow, this team is pretty good. And teams do take the Knicks seriously because it's like you can't give up with the Knicks because they're one of those teams, unfortunately, they can be down by 15 to 25 points and they find a way to come back in games. But I think that, when you go back to when the Knicks fired Tibbs, they didn't really have a backup plan. They were looking for
yeah.
someone to coach this team. And
They were willing to steal coaches rather.
yeah,
Both
you
teams.
hired Mike Brown, but I think that this team really needs like a really hard-nosed, aggressive coach, someone like you would see in like the college space that has proven to win championships, that has proven structure, that has proven discipline that they could implement on a team. A Gino Oriema, a Dawn Staley. You need a coach like that who's gonna be able to implement structure, consistency, discipline, and make changes so you can be like, wow, look at how they're playing now. I'm seeing changes on the floor.
But you know what? The Knicks, they, like I said, they lack size because they the Clippers had 12 steals. They have length, so when you got guys like that, and again they're telegraphing your plays, and because they have that length, the Knicks can't match that. So you know, and they're not a fast paced playing team also, and they
Hmm.
can't. They have to change their whole outlook, and they got to play up faster because the Knicks they are a slow paced team, and when teams force the Knicks to play their style of play,
It's a wrap.
that's what hurts them and kills them.
Hmm.
And most teams are playing faster, and the Knicks just can't match that. You know, and they know because teams. That's why you study teams and you played them over the years and X, Y, and Z. And if you do this, the Knicks can't do that. So and that's what the team they play to their strengths. And the Knicks don't for the most. So, sometimes they do because when they're on, they're on, but
Right.
and they got to get back to that playing to their strength, playing their style of game, stop letting teams dictate how they're gonna play, and they got to match that energy. I mean that Clippers game, that man, Cat was on, like
Yeah.
that was his. He said when the last time he had a 30 piece, a 30 plus piece. It's been a minute. So he was gritty. Like that's the Cat that we need to see. He has a bad habit. He turns it off and on. And I get his matchups, teams, and situation things. I get all of that, but like that's the Cat that you need to bring in, night out.
Agreed.
Um, and again it goes back to like the other little things that were the other plays they just seem to have forced a lot of those shots as well because they was chucking up those threes like there was raining threes and they just wasn't falling.
A
So
lot of those shots were rushed too.
yeah,
Like, and then also I was saying to myself, why are y'all passing it to Mikel? He can't buy a three. Mikel is very streaky from the three.
yeah,
He
yeah.
reminds me of Brianna Stewart when they shoot threes. You're not making them. Stop shooting them.
Yeah,
You're not a high quality 3-point shooter. Stop shooting threes. And to me, that's not really Mikel's game, unless it's maybe
yeah,
at the shortest point of the floor on the perimeter and shooting the shortest 3-pointer. Yeah, maybe. But I think also the Knicks didn't want it bad enough. Either
yeah,
game, either of the LA games, the Knicks didn't want it more. They didn't want it bad enough. And yeah, Carl Anthony Towns had a good game, but we were just talking about this like I think 2 episodes ago, where in order for the Knicks or any team to be successful, it has to be more than a 2-man game. So yeah, Carl Anthony has a great game, but if everybody else is kind of lackluster, you're not gonna win. And the problem is every time you saw the Knicks gain a little momentum, the Clippers came right back and was just knocking down shots because they weren't being contested. Because for some stupid reason they kept double teaming. And that is a huge issue with this Knicks team. The Knicks can play great defense. I'm not worried about them more so offensively because we know what they could do. They were off. But my issue with this team is okay, if you're off, when do you, who calls it out and says, yo, we need to attack the basket?
yeah.
Not
Attack
seeing
that
that
paint.
from this team.
Yep.
And like, if you're a coach, who's saying that? It's just it's so strange to me. Another thing I noticed too with this team is a lot of times teams are very successful when they challenge against the Knicks. They seem to be successful and win the challenge, but I don't know where does these changes come from. And part of it I think has to come from a coach with a different mindset and a different level of basketball IQ that they can bring to this team because this team lacks structure, discipline, and consistency. You can't continue to keep shooting shots and you're not making them. Rush shots, even if you have you made 4 or 5 passes. If it's been 2 quarters and you haven't made it, now you're going on to the third quarter and you're still not making it. At what point do you say, okay? Because when you notice a lot of those points when the Knicks were gaining momentum, they were driving.
Yeah, yeah.
Brunson, Cat doing putbacks, whatever, whatever. You can't keep shooting jump shots and you're not attacking the basket. And this team has a huge issue with that. And then when you go back on defense, the defense looks wide open when the Knicks are playing defense. Teams look like they could have their way and they're figuring out how to break down the defense. And also, what I'm wondering is, and I remember you saying this, teams have figured out how to slow down Brunson. So what's
Okay.
the the alternative if you're slowing down Brunson? What's the other alternative offensively for this team? If Brunson's being slowed down, also Brunson has been turning the ball over, not to mention last night's game. How many times did we see Jose Alvarado, Mikal Bridges, guys just literally practically giving several Clippers the ball because the passes were just silly. They were stupid, dumb passes. But I'm wondering what's the alternative if you're slowing down Brunson? How is the offense supposed to move and navigate so that we can score?
Well, again, that's something Brown has to make the adjustment. Bring Deuce back. That's the answer. No, but yeah, I, and he's missed, man. You Deuce, man. This guy, he will go to that paint and just his defensive like skill. He has a real high basketball IQ, but you know, but who's that for long? I mean, because I seen where Brunson, where he drove into that paint a few times in both the LA game and the Clippers game, and it was stripped. And then I think it was the LA game. He didn't even run back on defense.
Mm-mm.
But
He
you
at
didn't.
one point, yeah, I saw him sitting on the floor. I
Yeah,
was like, "Damn, you not gonna get up?"
I mean, not that I was looking for Brown to call him out, but he sure did it with Cat. Maybe somebody said something to him. That's probably why he didn't say anything about Brunson because you don't call out your player like that. But Brunson literally did not get back up, not right away, but he did it several times. And I get it. He's looking for the foul, but dude, you can't run into three opponents like you're not gonna get the foul like that. Like
Right.
it's like you're you're blatantly just running into him, hoping for the foul. You
And
you
not on the road.
yeah,
Not on
exactly.
the road either. Like you're not
Yeah,
gonna get that call. He
a good.
he also sat on the floor, and I want to say it was Shamit hit a corner three, and Brunson was just looking like he was at the beach. He was just sitting
Oh
on the
yeah,
floor watching him because
yeah.
Brunson, I think, got bumped. Shamit ended up with the ball. Shamit shot the three, and Brunson was just sitting there. And Brunson finally got up. But I don't know. I don't remember if this was last night's game
And I
or
think
was
it
it
was.
the Lakers game where
It was.
Brunson was sitting on the bench and he had a tablet in his hand. I guess they was like, "Watch what you doing." He was on the tablet because the camera was on Brunson for a minute. He was just scrolling on the tablet. I said, "Is he checking his TikTok?" Because the way he was, he was sipping the water, he was watching a tablet, and I think maybe they probably was like, "Yeah, you need to watch what you're doing out there." But Brunson, I'm not worried about him. I know he's gonna bounce back, but Brunson has been off. He's also looked fatigued. His legs haven't been under him.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen that too, where he's driven into the paint and literally either got blocked, stripped. Brunson puts that ball down sometimes when he's trying to like when you try to cross over to get the arms to connect on your arms for the foul, and teams are just snatching the ball or knocking it right from him. So I don't know. I think that that's another adjustment that I want to see from this team is when Brunson gets slowed down, what's the answer and how do you score against teams who have figured out how to slow this team down? Because I'm gonna tell you, the team so far, and not just because they beat the Knicks and how the margin and how they beat the Knicks, but Detroit has to a T. It's like Detroit is following a recipe, a baking recipe, because baking you have to be very precise.
Mhm.
Detroit has figured out defensively how to guard the Knicks to a T. And Mike Brown and co have not have figured out how to get out of it.
Yeah,
And when the Knicks get the clamps put on them defensively, they have not figured out how to get out of it and how to score against those teams. It's too stagnant. It's too flat, the offense. They haven't figured out how to get past these teams offensively. And this is a concern that I have with this team. Like, how much longer are we going to keep continuing to see this in the next 16 games where the Knicks, they're just watching? Brunson's dribbling the ball. Now we down to 7 seconds. I mean, kudos to the defense because Brunson was pulling out every trick he had. The footwork, the spin, the moves. He was met with a wall. So
yeah,
this is
yeah.
what I'm saying, and this is what happened against Detroit. What is the backup or the other answer to that when you're getting attacked and your main guy is getting slowed down? Who what is the move? What is the answer? What is the angle that we're going at? And I'll be damned if Brown, because this is why I keep mentioning Brown. When we played Detroit both games, they look like the same game, the way the Knicks were playing. There was
Yeah.
no adjustments made. You played the Lakers and then you played the Clippers. It was the same game. I didn't see any changes made. So that's why I'm saying, what are we doing? Because you're watching film, but what corrections? What's the solution? What are we doing to make the changes? And I don't see that happening. And that's why I'm wondering, okay, well, a lot of Knicks fans like, oh, I'm not worried when the Knicks get to the playoffs and this and the third. But I think what fans are forgetting is that teams have figured out how to slow the Knicks down. Not just Brunson, but the Knicks overall. Don't let them do a zone. Maybe the Knicks here and there could be able to, they figured out how to get a basket against them, but it's that I'm like I said, always say, I'm not worried about this team offensively. When the Knicks are on, they're on, like you were alluding to a few minutes ago. But another issue that they have is their defense. It's not, I get what it says on paper, but a lot of times that doesn't correlate in games. The Knicks sure sometimes could turn it over and they can go on a run and great, or in games when they're just on it and they're locked in.
Mm-hmm.
But they have a lot of games where again they're doing this double teaming crap. And I'm not sure why we still running that. The whole Clippers game, the Knicks kept double teaming. And I was like, damn, Brown didn't tell him to move out of the double team because that wasn't working. it was leaving at least two guys open because the paint was wide open. So then they were out rebounding the Knicks with the tip-ins and able to get the second, third chance opportunities. Again, another flaw when you don't have Mitchell Robinson in the game and you don't have any other person who could back him up on the height. There's a difference. I understand Karl Anthony Towns, he leads the league with his rebounds, but his aggressiveness isn't there like a Isaiah Hartenstein when he was able to trade off minutes with Mitchell Robinson. Karl Anthony Towns is Josh Hart looks more aggressive trying to get a rebound than Cat. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just feel like yes, Cat has been playing better lately, but I just think that this team they have to figure out the next route when you're being slowed down and Brunson's being slowed down or Cat is not even able to get in the paint. Because I've seen teams where they're like, keep Cat out there. Don't
Yeah,
even let him get in this paint area.
yeah,
Yeah, he can't even get in the paint. So now they shut out Cat and Brunson. So now what is the answer? How do you break down the defense that's putting the clamps on y'all? How do you get around it? And
yeah.
then on defense, when does Brown say, okay, move away from the double team man to man? Because that's not working. Stop this thinking that you. So when you play Detroit, you going to double team Cade. All he's gonna do is just pass it, and they're gonna score. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just think that this team they have to do some soul searching on offensive and defensive levels because there's some disconnects there. And I'm not just saying it just for those two losses. Even on games where the Knicks have won, I'm just like, what was that? You
Yeah,
know, it's like you
I
scratch your
agree.
head because you're like, what's going on? What is? And the
Yeah,
Knicks, they again, this is why I say they need a better leadership when it comes to the coach. I also think too the roster needs a little bit of a different makeup as well,
yeah, for
right?
sure. Yeah,
Especially in the off season. But I don't think this team has had the type of coach yet who has a lot of repertoire in their bag. I'm gonna do different lineups. I'm not saying it always has to be these great plays being ran on the floor, but like you gotta adjust to the different matchups and different teams. And when maybe the first round, okay, you take those lessons and you implement it now and you throw your tricks in of the trade and the next matchup you have in a series against that team. And I haven't seen this team do that yet, you know?
no, I mean, and then and what you think about Jose Alvarado? He seemed to have fallen out of the rotation. This
And
guy
Brad
played
Davis.
for 8 minutes, 0 points, 7 minutes. The Clippers game, 0 points. Like, where's he at? He seemed to have fallen out of the rotation.
I saw you text me and mention maybe Brown should try to go with Jose and Brunson on the floor together. I haven't really seen that much.
Yeah,
And you know what? Part of the problem with that is guess who's getting a lot of those minutes? Donut. Mikal Bridges. He's not producing, but yet you're leaving him out there. When do
yeah,
you call it? When do you call it? And sometimes it's okay to sit a star player out. It's okay.
yeah,
Sometimes you gotta sit Mikal down. If he's not giving you what you need, you never know who. Because case in point, in that Lakers game, Jordan Clarkson made a little bit of a difference when he came in that Lakers
yeah.
game. The
Mhm.
energy, the intangibles he was doing, he made a bit of a difference in that game. So if you're not switching it up, but you still rocking with the same ones, especially like a donut as Mikal is, you're not going to get any change if you're keeping Mikal in for 26, 27 minutes and he only giving you 7 points. Jose Alvarado could give you 7 to 10 points as well. I'm not saying to diminish Mikel's minutes down to 10 minutes a game, but if you on at 3 quarters now and Mikel still, all right, sit him down a little bit. You know what I mean? Because if anything, Alvarado plays better defense than Mikel, if you ask me.
Yeah, for sure.
Mikel's defense is not that great. He's there, but then all of a sudden his man is blowing right past him, and Mikel's playing alongside the guy. And now he's behind him, and now OG or whoever has to step up and guard his man. Now whoever they were guarding is wide open behind him. So I don't know. And this is what I'm saying. I'm really trying to, like you were alluding to at the top of the show, I'm trying to figure out what is it that Brown is putting out there. What is he putting down? And what are the Knicks players picking up? Because I can't really put my finger on it yet. I think I kind of have offensively, and I think offensively and defensively, I think he wants it to be a collective effort. I don't think he wants it to be an ISO one player scoring, wasting time on the clock. But then when you look at them on several possessions, sometimes you see that ISO ball being happening. And sometimes it's going to look like that because sometimes, yes, Brunson's going to have to go to work and do what he needs to do. Sometimes, Cat, whatever. But I don't know. I'm not sure where are the changes that's going to be made because if you're not making the changes now, don't wait to the playoffs to try to make the changes. This is the time
Yeah.
to practice with these 16 games. Don't wait to the first round to try to start. Oh, let's try this. Do it now. Tighten up now. Lock in now. A lot of people say the regular season don't matter. You're gonna blink and the Knicks will end up in fifth because
Yeah.
you got to win these last couple of games. You really shouldn't slip past third, if you ask me. So I'm not really sure. I don't know. What is it that this team, coaching wise, what are we doing to make the changes? And
Yeah.
I really hope that Brown figures it out because right about now, I'm not seeing any major adjustments or changes being made defensively and offensively. And I'm gonna say it again: that double teaming does not work for the Knicks.
No, no, it don't.
Double teaming.
Yeah, and like you said, Brown has to make the adjustment. I mean, they have a lot of work to do, both on the defensive and the offensive end. You know, on paper, they look like the most talented team in the league, and they do. And that's why Brown said he took the job. He said he alluded to about how much talent and this and that and the third. But but collectively they got to get better. They got to give more, and because talent just ain't gonna get cut it and work every night in every game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, y'all
Agreed.
y'all have a lot of talent on paper, but guess what? That's not gonna cut it every night because teams are gonna match. Teams that feel we're just as talented, and guess what? They are, and they go out there and they show proof, and that's what the Knicks have to do. You
Right.
know,
Yeah,
so
it's crazy. Shout out to the chat for joining us today. Shout out to Nostalgic Nick 7, who said to fire Mike Brown. Ouch.
he said fire.
Yeah, he said fire Mike Brown. Eddie C salute to you said many easy baskets for the Clippers. Yeah, too many easy baskets. And that's part of my gripe with the Knicks. Like I want to see the Knicks get capitalize on getting easy baskets. Stop coming down on the other end of the floor on offense and y'all just chucking up shots. Um, yep, it was 20 turnovers. I said 19, but it was 20. Eddie said, "This is Bridges' last season. No way he is playing for us next year." Yeah. Honestly, I could, and I said this to you a few months ago. I said I think we could do without Mikal because he's
Yeah,
just not as productive for this team. You could go get a guy who will give you a bit more consistency than what this guy gives you. 1 or 2 games a year where you have a great game. It's not enough. No player is indispensable, even Brunson. What is good for the team must be done. We even traded Frazier and Ewing. Yeah. I mean, I don't think they're gonna get rid of Brunson though. You gotta need him. He the heartbeat of the team. Salute to Kareem Grant, Hopewell as well. Rondu, salute to you. Rondu said, "I'm glad Tibbs is going. Yes. Did I want Mike Brown as a head coach? No. My first choice for head coach was Mike Malone. Yeah. That's who I thought the Knicks were going to go after.
Yeah, he's
And
good.
honestly, I think he would have taken the job instead of having to broadcast on the sidelines. I mean, I don't understand. Well, did he even interview for the job? I don't recall ever hearing anything that he interviewed. Yeah, I wish they would have went after him. But shout out to the chat and everybody joining us, all the usual suspects. We appreciate you. Those of you who are new here, shout out to you as well. The silent watchers, the replay gang, shout out to you all. If you guys aren't already subscribed to the channel, please show love to the channel and watch some old episodes as well. Hit the like button and give us your 2 cents. Leave us a comment as well and let us know your predictions for this week's games. I'm curious on your predictions, Diva. Wednesday, we play Utah tomorrow. Friday, we play Indiana. And this Sunday, we play the Warriors. What are your predictions?
Well, I would like to definitely. I'm gonna go 3-0, but I'm gonna say two of the possible. How's that? Because that pace has been give the Knicks fits, man, every time they play them. Because they, like you said, they have no answer for Pascal. So, but I'm gonna still go 3-0.
Yeah, I don't know. The last time we played Indiana, we lost by 3 and overtime. It's 113 to 126. And I hate to sound negative, but I'm gonna go. Mm, I want to say 2-1, but I feel like they may only win one. You know, one of these games, but I could be wrong. Maybe I need to have lower expectations and then they win more of these games. But the Jazz, that should be a game the Knicks should take for sure. Indiana, the Knicks need to get their look back and win that game. And then the Warriors, that's a trap game. The Pacers, the Indiana Pacers and the Warriors game, those are trap games. The Jazz, though, that should be a game that the Knicks for sure should take. Indiana, they've been awful, but for some reason, the same way the Knicks come out with that confidence and energy against Denver and the Spurs is the way the Pacers play the Knicks. The Pacers know they have the Knicks number. They play confident, outplayed them, out hustled them. So I don't know. I'm gonna go 2-1. I'm hoping the Knicks could pull it off. Like I said, tomorrow's game, cool. I'm sure the Knicks are practicing today. Um, and then I don't know with the Warriors, you just don't know. Anything is possible. But I'm gonna go 2-1. Not sure where that the one could either come from the Pacers or the Warriors that loss. So we'll see. And then the Knicks don't play again until they. So this is why I'm saying they need to beat the Pacers because they played them Friday and then they play them again next Tuesday at home. So tomorrow's game against Utah and Friday's game against Indiana are both away, and then the Knicks are back home against the Warriors on Sunday. Um, so yeah, and after that game, these are games that the Knicks should honestly win. You got the Warriors, Pacers. They play Brooklyn, Washington, New Orleans, Charlotte, and then you play the Thunder again, and then the Rockets close out this month of March. So yeah, the Knicks got to rebound back and figure out a way to get some wins under their belt. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to call it too early. Kareem said, "Go with your gut, lady. I think they would beat Utah and lose to India." Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they just gonna rock with one, and then the inconsistencies. This is what I'm saying with this team. I'm hoping they could surprise me, and then I go, "Wow, like they beat Utah and the Pacers. Okay, cool. Now we got Golden State back at home. The Knicks are feeling good with the home crowd
Yeah,
behind them, and they could get back on a 3-game winning streak, but I'm not. I'm not you know, gonna get too ahead of myself. But yeah, anything else for you from you?
Nah, nope. You know my mantra. Let's go Knicks.
Yeah. Let's go next. I'm hoping for a win tomorrow. Tomorrow's game is at what time? At 9.
9. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I hesitate because I forget that I'm 2 hours behind. So I'm like 7 or 9. It's 9. So 7 for me. But yeah, so we'll be back to do a recap of the Utah game. So the games are spaced out tomorrow and then okay, Friday. So that works out. Okay, cool. But yeah, shout out to the chat again. Shout out to Diva Locks and all the newbies. And until next time, everybody.